All right, the 2026 Ingles SoCon Fast Break Summer Tour continues right here in Greensboro. UNCG, the Spartans, and a new era begins. Jerod Haase is the new coach. There's going to be a completely different roster, and we're going to dive in and be able to go inside and see about this new roster and get to know the new team. Come on.
Hey, way to work today. Again, the holidays are coming up, so again, coach talked about taking care of bodies, but as we are here, let's continue to understand how we're laying our bricks every day. All right? Some days you might not feel like it. Some workouts are gonna be lighter than others. I told them it was gonna be light, and it got a little bit more intense as we went through, but that's the nature of the beast, right? So be able to adapt and adjust your mind to anything that's laid in front of you. And that's in life too. If we can do that on a day-to-day basis, again, when we get to March and February, March, we'll be right where we want to be.
Laying the foundation. That's the end of week 3 right now. So summer's going quickly. 3 more weeks, and again, the goal is to lay a foundation offensively, defensively, and build the relationships that we're talking about. So when we go to battle next year, we have a history together.
Martin, what are you doing?
Take care of your body.
Good fourth, what are you doing?
I'm going to 11.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
That's my agency.
Really?
Yeah. Me and George, my older cousin Joel.
No way.
Yeah.
And so working out or?
Yeah. I get a little bit of work, but it's like more like talking to like financial advisors.
Really?
Like the foreign stuff.
Amazing.
Really good stuff.
Wow.
All right, here we are, UNCG Spartans, another opportunity for the 2-man weave. RJ Greer right here joining us. And RJ, I got to know, how's the body feeling right now? Getting into summer workouts.
It's good. I'm getting adjusted to it all. Obviously everybody's a little bit sore, but feel great. The warm weather makes it pretty easy.
Yes.
To recover from, so I'm good.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, this is part of it though. This is summer
is.
workouts. What is it like though in terms of the mental side, preparing for an off season and knowing that, hey, this is an opportunity to develop and get better?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's going to be a grind because I think it's the hardest part because there's no games that you're really preparing for.
Yes.
You're just kind of playing and practicing. But knowing that you're laying the foundational pieces and building a bond with the teammates and stuff like that is the best part in my opinion. So.
Yeah, well, and of course, I mean, this is basically a brand new team with head coach Jerod Haase taking over. What drew you to Greensboro right here, UNCG and the Spartans, and what Coach Haase was offering?
Honestly, just the relationship piece that I'd immediately built with the coaching staff was amazing. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to be, close to the coaches, but also know that they had my back. And not only that, the group of guys that we had coming in were all great people. So I just thought it would be the best fit for me.
How quick was your decision? Was it a long process for you in the portal?
I think it was maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Okay.
I think I committed 2 days after I came on the visit here. So.
Oh, that's pretty quick then.
Yeah.
All right. So did you call Coach Haase or?
I called him while I was on the golf course.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we were talking about golf a bunch. Coach Frost golfs as well. Coach Stowe's actually starting to golf, so I was on the golf course and I gave him a call. Let him know that I was coming.
All right. How many hole-in-ones have you had in your life?
Zero.
Zero. Okay.
Zero.
Same here. I can't get one.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
That's right. Well, how's your game though? How are you playing?
I got really good before I came here,
Okay.
and then I golfed with Coach Frost and my dad maybe 2 weeks ago, and I stunk it up. So I haven't been on the course since. I can't even lie to you.
Hey, well, I'll tell you, golf is one of those games. It can be so much joy, but it can be so frustrating.
So
Just
frustrating.
The mental side of it also, as we talked about. All right, speaking of your dad,
Yeah.
I mean, your dad was a hell of a player.
That he was.
Yes, he was.
He
Yes,
was.
I remember. He was a hell of a player.
Yeah.
So who's the better shooter, though, you or your dad?
Come on now.
You're going you, right?
Of course. Hopefully he gets to watch this.
Oh,
so he can
yes.
see that.
That's right.
I would definitely say me.
All right. How was it growing up, though, with your dad in terms of him being a coach? And I mean, were you able to, like, even just enjoy sitting watching games, or was he dissecting games?
I mean, I remember, like, I was born in France, so, like, I remember him playing over there, and I'd be, like, one of the little flag kids on the baseline holding the flags for them while they would play games, so that was great. And then, yeah, the journey of him coaching, starting at UCF and then Dayton, like, I've gotten to learn so much, so, like, it's definitely given me a bit of an advantage, you know, from, like, an IQ standpoint, kind of.
Of course, yeah.
So
how much do you lean on him? Especially
he's like my
during the tough
inspiration.
times when there's adversity in basketball.
100%. Like he's fully my inspiration. That's my go-to guy right there.
Yeah.
He doesn't just talk to me as like a father. He doesn't tell me what I want to hear.
Okay.
You know, he gives me both sides of it and kind of works me through it, helps me you know, get through the hardships, but then also like keeps me level-headed when I think that everything's, you know, going great. So
yeah.
Give him full credit.
Was there ever a challenge for you understanding, hey, that's coach and this is dad, and sometimes they talk to you differently?
1000%. Like he coached me in I want to say middle school when I played up, and we fought every day. I'd be crying all the time, and so I told him, I was like, I don't ever want to get coached by you ever again. But no, I think we've both talked about it a bunch, and like at the house, it's strictly we talk about golf, we talk about other sports, you know, everything but basketball, and then. Yeah. We'll take maybe 5 minutes after a game and talk about it, and then it's in the past.
Yeah. So. Now, did you play other sports growing up?
I briefly played football, but it's been basketball ride or die.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I imagine you probably don't even remember like when you fell in love with basketball, because you were always ingrained basketball in your system.
I probably have pictures of me when I was like 2 years old with a basketball in my hand. So yeah.
Well, and I see the tattoo. You've got basketball on your arm right there.
Yeah.
Audience of one, though. Describe that.
So this is for my high school coach sophomore year. You know, I was going through a bit of adversity, and he kind of told me that I just need to play for one person. And that's, you know, the man above.
The Lord.
So
yes.
Since then, I've just kind of stuck to that, and it's, you know, it's helped keep me down. I think about it every single time, and he gets all the credit for it.
Yeah, no question. So how important is your faith?
It's been growing a lot recently. You know, I've started to become more into. I went to a Catholic school junior and senior year, so it kind of developed there, and then, you know, since then it's grown since, you know. I've started to consistently go to church on Sundays now, and keep prayer in my life every day.
Well, it's a process. Like that, so. It's a journey, and everybody has to go through it in a different way.
1000%.
That's for certain. All right, so when's the other arm going to get inked up?
This arm is staying clean. This is the shooting arm, so I can't touch this arm right here.
That's right.
It's
that's
stay
the hot
clean.
arm, right? All right, so how excited are you to come play in the Southern Conference and some of the challenges going to some of these schools? I mean, I know Southern Conference from a mid-major basketball perspective, maybe not from the national level, but I'm telling you, there's high-level basketball here in the Southern Conference.
1000%. No, I'm ecstatic. You know, I'm excited to play with these guys. You know, we compete against each other every day, so I can't wait to, you know, pass it to my teammate and him score, and us be dapping each other up and not playing against each other and stuff like that. But no, I can't wait. I think it's a great league, you know. It's a great area that we're playing in. I can't wait to see these stands filled with a bunch of fans, so it's going to be great.
Yeah, no doubt.
I can't wait.
Well, let's go, 2026.
Yes, sir.
RJ,
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The work has been good. We're going to build on what we've already started. There will be more team stuff the next 3 weeks. Not a ton more, but a little bit more team, a little bit less individual. This weekend, make sure you guys that are here kind of take care of each other. Make sure you guys are looking out for each other, and got a few days off right here. Anybody that's going home or getting out of here, make good decisions, be safe, come back Monday, ready to work. find a way to get better. Good job.
Hey, family on three. Family on me. 1, 2, 3.
All right, Coach Haase, we get you on SoCon Fast Break. I can't believe you're here. Are you unpacked though?
Mostly unpacked. Still have some work to do, but the family's officially here, and Greensboro is now home.
How has that process been though, taking over and just the upheaval, so to speak? Because I know it's not always easy.
It's not easy. And the first, having done this a couple times now, it helps just understanding the big picture. It doesn't make it any easier. In the new day and age, it's from working through the roster, and working through staff issues and getting all that set. That first month was pretty chaotic.
Of course. All right. So how was the conversation that you had with Brian Mackin in terms of, okay, hey, this opportunity is here, and how did that come about? That whole process.
Well, it was great, and obviously he and I have a history. I know him and how he runs things, and I did a couple year really a self-evaluation of if I wanted to get back into coaching, and if I did, what were kind of the top priorities for me? What is a good program? What kind of things do I want to do? And for me, having an administration and athletic director that I really believed in, and they believe in me, was going to be a big thing. And so with my relationship with him and understanding how he does things, that was very important.
Oh, I mean, trust is one of the biggest things that I think we're all looking for, not only in sports or job, but just in life in general.
Absolutely. No, so that's a good foundational piece, and excited to build it from there.
That's right. Coach, you talked about the decision, taking on a new head coaching job here at UNCG, but self-reflecting, were you ready? What was that whole process like in terms of, hey, this is something that I want to do, or was there any apprehension as far as just even getting back into coaching?
There was a lot of apprehension. The last 2 years, if you had asked me 2 years ago, I'd have said there's no chance I'm getting back into it, because it's a different world than it used to be.
Yes.
And it is, I sound old school and the cliches, but the ideas of education and relationships and development, those kind of phrases and words aren't used as often. It has become more transactional. It has become more of a business. And so the two years that I spent away, it was really reflecting of, do I want to do it? Do I believe in what's going on? And it took me some time to get to the point where I do want to do it, and I decided that, but also want to do it in my way.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and do it where ideally you retain some of the roster and you develop the players, and you build these relationships and all the things that I loved when I was a player and tried to do my 12 years as a head coach, trying to implement those again. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it is something that I believe in at a very high level. Yeah.
And, you mentioned old school, and sometimes I think old school gets a negative connotation in terms of, oh, well, old man, get off my lawn, things are changing, well, you got to evolve. And I'm all about evolving. There's no doubt from that standpoint. But I think sometimes when things move so fast, and what we're seeing in college athletics right now, the unintended consequences that are associated with it. And I don't know if we're really fully understanding, what those might be.
Yeah, there's plenty of changes that have been positive and good for the players.
But, of course.
But
that's right.
And as you're saying, but there's the other side of the coin, where my guess is graduation rates will plummet. That if a player went to 4 schools in 4 years, 10 years from now, which one is home? Does he have anywhere to go back to? Does he have the relationships with the coaches when he needs a reference for a job? And those kind of things, I think, are getting lost a little bit. And maybe down the line, there's a time when there's a little bit, gets a little bit more normalized, and it kind of gets a balance.
That's right.
With where we're at. But at this point, big picture, I don't think we're there.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But maybe some point, water will find its level, and we'll get to that. You mentioned your way or my way, that you wanted to be able to do it. What does that mean?
Well, we're going to have our core values here, and it's give, grit, and gratitude. And give is giving of yourself, for the greater good, and for the program, and for other people in the program, giving to the community, giving to the university. And that's maybe a little bit different idea than the bigger picture of college athletics.
That's right.
And we are going to want to have grit and toughness with what we do. And then the third one is gratitude and being grateful for the opportunities and appreciate all the blessings we have and the opportunity to compete and be a part of this program. And we'll lean on those core values, and we'll lean on what I just talked about, really emphasizing education, emphasizing player development, on and off the court.
Okay.
And then really genuinely investing in relationships and getting to know the guys and try and turn this into a long-term proposition as opposed to a 9-month deal where they're just here and get out.
That's right. Well, and that's the old school way, it seems, in terms, but it's life though. Relationships are so important. And that's what I am worried about also, that we're going to miss out on those. And it's the younger generation that's going to be missing out on the relationships that they won't have the opportunity to build.
Well, there's no question. And one of the biggest reasons I got into coaching a long time ago was because of my experience as a player. And Coach Williams, for me, was a mentor, a father type figure. And it was just a great experience. And I wanted to be able to have that kind of impact on players' lives. I don't know that I've done that, but I certainly have tried. And I want to continue to try to build those relationships and provide that kind of experience for my players that I had when I was a player.
Yeah, I think you're undervaluing your impact on players' lives. I would quickly think that there's a lot of players that would say some of the same things that you're talking about with Coach Williams. And you mentioned grit. Hey, there's no doubt that's in your DNA. And I'm so disappointed I forgot to bring Floor Burns. I wanted to get your signature on it. Yes, I haven't been able to read it, but I did just order it. And I forgot it at home. I'm so disappointed about that.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sure if you want to go to sleep, it'll put you to sleep. That's what my wife would say. But no, it was a fun project.
Yeah, but you're an author. I love it. Yeah. And even I think you almost were like a predecessor, because now we see, all of the content in terms of, film crews being with a team, those type of things, but you did it in a paper version.
Yeah.
So that was somewhat unheard of. Again, how did all that come about?
As I transferred from Berkeley to Kansas, and so that redshirt year, I had that fifth year, and I graduated, and that last year was deciding how to fill the time, and obviously was going to school, but then thought this would be really a fun project, and we had a special team at Kansas that year, and somebody came to this. My co-author Mark Horvath came to me with this idea, and I told him no a few times, but then I started thinking it would be pretty cool, to have that documented.
Yes,
that I knew that it was going to be really a special year in my senior year, and be able to share that story with my kids and grandkids someday. And so it did come to fruition, and it ended up being a really fun project during the year, and then after the year when we sold the copies and went around and did that whole thing. But it was a great experience being able to document that senior year.
For sure. How many autographs have you had to sign, or how many books have you had to sign?
Do you know what it turned into? We actually, I went overseas and played for a few months and came back, and the publishers, everybody said no. It was either too big of a project or too small of a project, and everybody said no. So we actually self-published it. And it turned out to be a great experience. We sold about 40,000 books, and went around the state of Kansas, and probably signed most of them. But it was in terms of, I was a business major, but it was a pretty cool real life experience in terms of the business of selling a book.
Oh, I love it. Well, taking a chance on you and all of that, and I love that aspect. Okay, so you've got one more to autograph then. So I've got to bring it up here next time I'm up here. All right, just from the perspective of the grit that we talked about. But you talked about giving and gratitude also. Where did that come about, and when did that have an impact in terms of, hey, that's what I want to be able to represent and build as part of the culture?
When I was at UAB, my second year of coaching, we were struggling, not winning a bunch of games, and culturally, I didn't like where the program was. And so I leaned into the idea of core values and, read up about it a little bit with other sports teams and businesses. And that third year, we really leaned into the idea and had our core values when we were at UAB. And I credit a lot of our success of turning that around there to foundationally having a belief system, and being able to talk to our guys every day about that. And then when I went to Stanford, we did the same concepts, but, different words and different ideas there. And then same thing here. I knew I was going to have the core values, but these are unique to Greensboro and unique to this program right now. And the last couple of years, I've really spent time thinking about, as the world has changed, as college athletics has changed, as I have changed, what do I want my program to embody? And what do I want my players to really believe in and show every day, what we're about.
Yeah. Now, the time away from coaching and now coming back into it, how do you feel that you'll change as a coach? Will you coach differently in terms of even like on the court?
Yeah, there's a variety of things. I think, how I act and those kind of things, those are authentic to me. And I don't think there'll be a whole lot of change there. But there'll be some things offensively and defensively, that we adjust and adapt. It was really fun for me to be able to, think about, offensively, why was I doing certain things, or defensively, why was I doing things, when you often don't have that time to reflect, because at the end of the season, you're right into recruiting. You just kind of, repeat.
That's right.
And so having that time to reflect really on all aspects of my life and the program was really valuable. And I think there will be some changes. I'll spend, this sounds crazy, but my 12 years of coaching, so little of the time is spent actually coaching the team.
Yeah.
Because of recruiting and the donors, and there's just so many
especially
things
now.
that get spread so thin.
Yeah.
And I've really hired a staff that I think is exceptional. And there are certain things I will delegate, but I want to make sure from a basketball perspective, I'm really diving in, myself, and coaching the team really hands-on.
Yeah, for certain. And speaking of the coaching staff that you got, and now with all of the advancements that we have in analytics, and Coach Quam, how much are you leaning on analytics now?
Yeah, I think it's a piece of the puzzle, right? And I actually had a conversation with the staff yesterday that I think it's great to get the data and the analytics. But for example, in recruiting, the human element is still there, and we make sure we don't forget about that.
That's right.
Communicating with, people in the business and trying to do your research. It's not just watching tape. It's not just analytics, but it's trying to do your research. And I think the team we put together here, we did a good job of that. If you look statistically and analytically at our team, it's probably not very good on paper, right? Because maybe somebody was at a high major that didn't play much, or it's a freshman that we don't really know, or is it a different level? So it's, how does all that translate? And so trying to use data, but then also supplement it with, human intelligence.
Exactly. That's right. Paper don't play. We do know that. Yes, there is an aspect of, you got to be able to, marry all of it together to get a true evaluation. All right. You mentioned your senior year there at Kansas, or, your when you transferred there, and how good that team was. Would it have been different if you don't break your wrist?
Yeah, I do believe so.
How much have you thought about that?
I've always had a little bit of a, guilty, feeling, because we had a team. Jacques Vaughn was probably the best point guard in the country. Paul Pierce was probably the best three-man in the country. Rafe LaFrance was the, player of the year in the Big 12. Yes. And Scott Pollard played in the NBA for a dozen years. And then I was the two-man on that team. And once I learned how to pass more, we got pretty good.
Don't say that. You were a shooter.
It was the first game of the year. I broke my wrist and played throughout the year with it. And at the very end, in the NCAA tournament, it basically kind of gave out on me, and only played a few minutes in the Arizona game that we lost. But we had a heck of a team, and it was a heck of a run. But it was something that they didn't need me out there to score, but defensively I was able to do some things, and Arizona just got hot and had three guards that could put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, that was another good team too, that Arizona team. All right, how did you actually break it?
So I didn't even know it was broken. I fell in that first game and broke it. I knew it was hurting the next day, but we came back. Actually, we went to Hawaii and played in Hawaii, and then came back home, x-rayed it, and it was negative. And then about halfway through the season, I said, guys, this obviously isn't, there's something going on. So we x-rayed it again. They said, it's been broken for a couple months now. But just falling on it.
That was it. All right. You've played in many arenas across the country, but Allen Fieldhouse, that seems to be the mecca for college basketball. It's where it all started. James Naismith.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. It's such a special place. The fans are passionate. They're knowledgeable, obviously supportive. And in terms of just the sheer volume of how loud it gets in there. And I mean, I've seen many games as a player, as a coach, as a fan, where the crowd literally impacts winning
Yes,
in
of course.
in a big, big way.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, from an evaluation standpoint, your time at North Carolina and doing a lot of stuff with the JV team at North Carolina, how did that help you from a recruiting and even I guess more so from an evaluating standpoint, being able to identify, hey, maybe there's a diamond in the rough over here?
Yeah, I mean, so the JV team at Carolina has always been the greatest thing ever. In my 5 years coaching that, it was such a blessing. I still have relationships with a lot of those guys, and it was really evaluation, yes, but being able to be a head coach, because
Of course.
and now there were only about 10 people in the stands, but it was really amazing to be able to be out there, coach the team. Nobody knows if you won or lost, so you could kind of experiment and try and create your identity as you coach. But
Yeah.
I remember the first time, I remember looking over and, saying to my assistant, "Hey, we want to call a timeout." And he's looking at me, he's like, "Well, you're the head coach, you can do it." But it really helped me once I got the UAB job, having had that experience of just being a head coach, because there's an adjustment to be made for
That's
sure.
right. How nervous were you taking that head coaching job, your first one at UAB?
Yeah.
Or is nervous
for
the right
sure.
word?
I don't know if nervous was the right word, because I think I was prepared. Coach Williams does such an amazing job. But anxious might be a better word.
Yeah.
Wanting to do well and, put a lot of time in as a player and as an assistant coach, that I wanted to do my best as a head coach. But it was certainly anxious, but I don't know that that's completely dissipated. It's probably good it hasn't, 'cause
That's
I
right.
still have
So you
that.
get those butterflies?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about even like during the summer? Especially, I mean, this is a new team. Is there still a little bit of that little excitement feeling?
Excitement. I think the summer right now is excitement, being
Yeah.
around the guys, seeing what pieces of the puzzle we have, trying to figure out how to put that together. And it is exciting at this point, trying to, again, evaluate, put all the X and O's into place a little bit, and then see what we got.
Yeah. All right. From an evaluation standpoint, how quickly could you tell that when you're at Cal that, okay, this Jason Kidd guy, he's going to be pretty good?
He was amazing as a player. He's been awfully good as a coach as well. But, it's the thing with him is obviously he was very, very skilled, unbelievable passer, became a great shooter,
Yeah.
great leader. But the thing with him is he moved like a point guard, acted like a great point guard, but he wasn't built like a point guard.
Mm.
He was built like a four-man
Yes.
in college, 6'5", 220. And, we came at the same time, like there's no way that he and I are both freshmen together, because physically he was just so much bigger, stronger, faster than I was. But yeah, it didn't take long to figure out he was a heck of a player.
That's right. All right. When you transfer to Kansas, I know your freshman year, your dad passing away, how impactful was that for you and the adversity that you had to face with that?
Yeah, freshman year is always hard,
Yeah.
adjusting to college. And then my father passed away. The head coach, Lou Campanelli, was actually let go in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Jeff Wolbrin, who was my assistant, who was actually on my staff, he resigned during this time as well. So there was a lot of turbulence that year. And we were a team that we started great, and then we struggled in the middle, and then finished really well.
Oh, finished great.
So it was needless to say, it was a wild year, and then was able to transfer luckily to Kansas,
Yeah.
and couldn't have found a place that was more comfortable and felt like home.
Yeah.
And the players and the coaches, it was lifelong relationships and a great experience.
Yeah. Well, you were able to shine in NCAA tournament there. You played well.
Yeah, it was being able to knock off Duke after they were back-to-back national champions. And so in '93,
Yeah.
we ended up going to the Sweet 16 after beating Duke. But it was, that's one that I'll always remember.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of changes, I mean, can you imagine Cal in the ACC when you were there, being in the ACC, and even Stanford, now in the ACC? I mean, it's just a different world.
It's a different world, and it's not. Things aren't driven by common sense. It's driven by some other things. And I'm sure that conference will continue to evolve. But,
Yes, that's
at some
right.
point, like we said, maybe there's common sense that's applied.
At some point, and even just some of the little things that I remember enjoyed. Midnight Madness.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to bring that back.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem. I mean, I want that type of pizzazz where there's this excitement. And I mean, how much do you miss Midnight Madness?
And missed a lot, especially at Kansas. It was such a fun deal.
the truth is much of, one of the biggest things for Midnight Madness and those events was for recruiting. Because recruiting was such, obviously, the lifeblood of a program.
That's right.
But now recruiting cycles are not 2 or 3 years. If you develop relationships and get to know guys and evaluate, recruiting cycles a lot of times is 2 weeks.
Yes.
Where it's after the season and guys are transferring and you get to know them and you bring them in. So, the purpose, one of the major purposes of the Midnight Madness is no longer there because the recruiting, a sophomore in high school or a junior in high school is not as important.
That's right. Yeah. And is that, I don't know if it makes it easier or harder, or is it just different in terms of, now there's not that relationship building and the long recruiting process. And so.
Yeah, different, I think, is the right word.
Yeah.
It's easier, certainly, in some ways. It's harder in some ways. And, your ability to evaluate is extremely important in a short amount of time.
That's right. And how challenging was it for you this year, building this roster? Because you had to do it fast also.
Extremely challenging.
Yeah.
And, the two things I really wanted was a group of guys that were high character and that love the game.
Yeah.
And then, the rest of it we kind of figure out. And there is the GM component of it is a real thing now.
Mm-hmm.
It used to just be recruiting, building relationships and, kind of figuring it out, but how you put a team together. And, the reality is there is a money component to it. That's an important piece. And so that, putting the puzzle together was fun. But I think this experience will help me in the future as well, just being more efficient and smarter about how we do it.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of this team, what should the UNCG Spartan fan base, what should they be excited about heading into this season?
Well, number one is what I just said. I think we have high character guys that love the game. They're really going to do everything we possibly can to be a part of the university, and then hopefully that translates into a fun team to watch on the court, right? And then hopefully it translates into a bunch of wins. Now, having said that, Deontay Neal's a local kid, point guard, and he's a jet with a basketball and really can pass that basketball. 1,000 assists in high school, first player ever in North Carolina history to do that. So I actually was talking to a couple of the guys after practice today, and they were talking about how much fun it is to play with a point guard right now that is a pass first and somebody can blend everybody together. And then we did try and put shooting around him. And a guy like Cameron Grant transferred from Stanford, RJ Greer, we think they can really shoot the basketball, and that creates space for Deontay to get to the paint. We have Ante, a big from Croatia. He was at Illinois, Chicago. Can really score in the low post. So I think as we put the team together, we have a couple guys that can really get to the paint, including Deontay there. And then we have some size. Vernon Collins, so they shot blocker, rim runner, and he's been in the league. And then a bunch of shooters that hopefully, again, with that spacing, can create space for some of the guys.
That's right. Well, in the Southern Conference, 3-point shooting, that's a staple in this conference. And so not only do you have to be able to shoot, but you also have to be able to defend the perimeter. That's a big part of the Southern Conference.
And for us, I think what we'll lean on is a man-to-man defense, but we'll also have some multiple defenses throughout there as well. So we'll play some zone. We'll switch from man to zone, et cetera, and try and keep people a little bit off balance. But being able to defend the 3-point line in this league are very important.
That's right. All right. What about from an offensive standpoint, pace perspective? What's your viewpoint on that, and what are you trying to accomplish?
Well, I think we're going to be able to kind of morph into the pace we need. My goal is that we're playing very, very fast. I think we have the personnel to do that. We have the point guard to be able to do that. But then, depending on who we're playing and the game itself, playing fast just to play fast is great. But, if it's whatever's going to give us the best chance to win. And so we're going to be able to play fast. We will play fast, but then we're also going to have the ability to slow it down and try and be very intentional about what we're doing offensively.
Yeah, Deontay seems like he's a little water bug out there. He can get up and down the court pretty fast.
He can get up and down. He can get all the cracks of the defense, and that's why having shooters around him, I think, is really important.
Yeah, for certain. All right, so how many times you getting shots up these days and showing these guys, hey man, I still got it?
No, the wrist still doesn't work really well, and so I like to just tell the stories about how good I was as opposed to show them, because I don't want them to see it and then realize that my best days are behind me.
That's right. Hey, well, you can show them film. We've got games out there, and you can highlight that. All right, what do you do off the court though? in terms of, yes, I mean, I know you've got your family, 3 kids, and so that keeps you busy. I've got 3 kids also, so I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I guess technically now I have 5 from a blended marriage now. So are you going to try to get a starting 5? Are you
No,
done?
I think we're I think 3 is the limit right now, and but being a dad is an absolute blessing. I've had so much fun with it. All of them are so unique and different. Have their own hobbies and that kind of thing. But yeah, being a dad has been amazing, and spending time with them, or cooking dinner and having those family meals are things that I truly enjoy.
Yeah. Do you enjoy cooking?
I do.
You do?
I do.
All right. What's the go-to dish that you like to make?
A variety of things. It's homemade pizza is probably one of the favorites.
Ooh,
I do like cooking a good steak.
Okay.
But I try and vary it up, and try and branch out as much as I possibly can. And my family's great, because even if I mess up and it's not a good meal, they'll never say it, and they tend to eat it, and so that makes it a lot easier.
That's right. All right. How important has your wife been through all this, and especially the transitions and everything?
I mean, it's being able to, buying houses, selling houses, moving furniture, getting kids organized and situated, and schools, and so there's so many moving parts, and she's been able to navigate so much of that, and it's
and she knew what she was signing up for.
Yeah,
right?
and actually, she loves it. Being a part of a team, and with the other coaches' wives, creating almost a team.
Yes,
within a team, and she's enjoyed that part of it. She definitely wanted me to get back into it, and she's always enjoyed it.
Yeah. How do you handle a loss?
Probably like most coaches, not great. But at the same time, I think perspective is very important, and having family and having been through this, 12 years as a head coach, having a perspective of the bigger picture, I think, is important. And there's no question it, tears me up, and, there's that competitive fire still there, but at the same time, being able to move on to the next play of the next game is very, very important. I think the experiences I've had have helped me prepare for that.
Yeah. I mean, windshield mentality has to be there. You can't dwell on, the past. And then in terms of not only developing your players, what about developing you in terms of, the things that you do to not only develop as a coach, but also as a man, as a father, and as a husband?
Yeah. And we talked about the last couple of years that I've had. I think it's really been this is a job that can get you very singular focused, and not well-rounded. And, and while I do try and, especially with family or getting out and golfing or reading a book every once in a while, is trying to maintain, a breadth of interests and activities and relationships and that kind of thing. And the last couple of years were great, again, to do more of those things, but then also just to evaluate and know that as I get back into it, to make sure that I do have balance in my life, and try and maintain some kind of sanity.
Yeah. Can you have any sanity out on the golf course though? Because that's such a frustrating sport.
Yes, I've learned, actually. I've learned to, kind of compartmentalize things, and I've learned in golf to enjoy the moment, and being able to, even on the bad shots, hey, if I'm outside, I'm with friends, I can kind of realize I'm still in a good spot.
That's right. All right. And then just from a family perspective, I mean, you were the youngest of 5.
Yeah.
I mean, how tight were you with your siblings?
Yeah, really close. It's, I'm very fortunate, great parents, and then youngest of 5, as you mentioned. And
were you treated differently?
They would say
as
yes.
The baby? Yes, of course.
Yes. I would say no. I'm sure it was harder on me, but I think all the other siblings would disagree with that. But we've really branched out everywhere, from the state of Washington to Texas to Arizona to out North Carolina now. But we've always been very, very close, and hopefully some of them will make it out to some games.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Well, I can tell you the heat right now here in Greensboro is a little bit different than Tahoe, where you grew up.
A little bit different for sure.
That's right. All right. So how many times, are expert skier, black diamonds?
I have been downhill skiing one time in my life.
Really?
And basically was born and raised at the base of Heavenly Valley, which is one of the biggest resorts in the world.
That's one of my favorites.
But youngest of 5 kids, it was never a family, deal, because, it's just expensive to take everybody out. And, we'd go out our back door and do some cross country skiing, which I hated. And so I found an indoor sport. The siblings were all really good skiers and runners and things like that. And once I found a basketball, I knew my calling.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Well, I was the same way, just in terms of my kids. I loved that when they decided to play basketball. It's like, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about the elements.
Exactly.
Yes, I can just go inside as a parent. Well, I know you're excited for this upcoming 2026 season here in Greensboro, and best of luck, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.